My name is Sharon Stephens. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I live in the Hill District area of Pittsburgh. And this book represents the passions of John Adams for cultivating minority business relationships with one another and also with corporate America. It's called the Negro Directory, Pittsburgh Negro Directory, which was produced by John Adams. And a little bit about John Adams. John Adams had a business called John Adams Agency, and it provided insurance, advertising, and other kind of services. And also he was the first executive director for the Pittsburgh Regional Minority Purchasing Council, known today as the Western Pennsylvania Minority Supplier Development Council. At this time, Pittsburgh was the third largest corporate headquarters in America. And as I thumb through this book, it just really takes me down memory lane. It reminds me of community and family, and how we were able to have a thriving and a teeming community that provided all types of services and products that were from Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs. Rarely did we have to go downtown to get anything because everything was in our neighborhood. This book has over 1,000 businesses, Black businesses, across the Pittsburgh area. Businesses providing products and services within the community. Tyson's Bakery, which was located on Center Avenue. That's where I had my first job. I don't think I was 14. I may have been 14 or a little younger than 14. And I had my first job there filling pastries with cream and jam fillings. I think about, I see Hicks Superette. That was a Black-owned superette market, and we often shopped here to get meats. They had a butcher. They had, all kinds of other grocery items that we use daily. Also, I looked through this book and I'm reminded of Johnson's Studios. And so many people are familiar with Teenie Harris, and he had a business also on Center Avenue. But there was also Johnson's Studio, and that's where I had my pictures taken at as a child. And my baby's picture was one of the pictures featured in his window. My Aunt Rose, who helped raise me, is also listed in the directory. And I think about how she began her skill in doing hair at the kitchen table of her parents' home in Montgomery, Alabama. And when she left Montgomery, Alabama, she came to Pittsburgh. And while at that time, the only work she could get was cleaning people's houses. But while doing that, she went to beautician school, and she got her license. And she began working in a salon owned by one of our family members. And while working in that salon, she was saving money. And she bought a house, a residential house along residential and rental property. And then after that, she and another beautician opened their own salon, Rose and Virginia's Beauty Salon. It first was on Kilpatrick Street behind Goods Drugstore, and then they moved to the corner of Webster and Perry Street. And then from that point, after some years, they decided to move their salon in their home. But one of the things I also remember about her was that when she didn't have customers, sometimes she would ride the bus line. And what the bus line is, she would jitney the bus line. And what that involved was the person took your car, they used it like a taxi service, They would drive along the bus route through the hill and downtown. They beat their horn. They go to each bus stop. They beat their horn. People get in, pay the fare. The fare was the same as the bus ride, and they didn't have to wait for the bus. And what was so unique about that was during that time, it was unique to have a woman jitney, either from a stationary station, not alone to ride the bus line. Also, I remember when she was renovating the house or rehabbing the house. I guess she was putting floors in. And one time I came home and she was putting in, they had camera crews at the house. Governor Shriver, who was the father of Maria Shriver, was at the house. And she was showing them how to put in parquet floors. I thought that was real impressive. But that was my aunt. And she was a very bold soul. I could say from her, I can't say I'm as bold as her, but I can say I've gotten her resourcefulness. And so this book represents all the people like her. It represents people who have the entrepreneurial spirit. It represents people who are resourceful, and it represents a Negro community before desegregation. I guess the question is how does the community looks different now than in those days? And there's a saying that if you could see it, you can be it. In those days, there were doctors living in the community, or there were professionals in the community, there were businesses in the community, there were people who were entrepreneurs and products and services. There were a lot of activity in the community that you could see and say, oh, I think I would like to do this. He's Black, he's a dentist. Maybe I like to be a dentist or doctor or attorney or whatever. There were a lot of professionals in and out the community, and I think desegregation has its pros and cons, but one of the cons was that people left the community. And so those who could leave the community left the community, and those who couldn't stayed and did not have the opportunity to see the things they could aspire to. They didn't have an opportunity to see that they could broaden their horizons beyond their current existence. They didn't get to see what we saw then, that you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could own your own business. There were things you could do. As I had mentioned, my aunt, all she knew was how to do hair in her kitchen. But when she got to Pittsburgh, she knew she could get a license, she could establish her own business, she could buy a home, she could, find other sources of income. And she never graduated from school. And so today you don't see that, because only the people the people who remain in the community, their vision is, they just can't see beyond that. They can't see beyond the walls of their community. So I think that was the con. That was the part that was bad about a desegregation. It was good because you can start businesses other places, but it left the community empty.